Word for you today, it's Saturday, April the 5th. Springtime in Oklahoma. Isn't it great? Don't get ahead of God is our lesson today, and it comes out of Psalm 127, verse 1. It says, and you know this verse, it'll be very familiar to you. Unless the Lord build the house, its builders labor in vain. Unless the Lord watches over the city, the watchmen stand guard in vain. Solomon knew a thing or two about building. He built the temple. David wanted to, but God says, no, your son, Solomon, will be the one who will build it. He also was wise, and he knew that no matter the skill involved, without God's help, it wasn't something that was going to last. So he lined up builders. He says the builders. What are the builders to do? Well, the builders are called to build. They're not called to stand around and do nothing. They're called to build. And then there's the watchmen. What are they called to do? Well, they're called to watch. They're supposed to stand guard and not shirk their responsibility. Builders are to build. Watchmen are to watch. Yet each of them, their effort depends on them obeying God. So what does it mean that the builders build in vain and the watchmen stand guard in vain? Well, the first thing is the foundation. If the house, the building, is built on a shaky foundation, the work's going to be in vain because it's not going to stand. The doors, the windows, they're not going to line up well. And it's the same way with a life. Our foundation has to be in Christ, or sooner or later things just are not going to stand up well. And it doesn't matter how well the builder builds the house. He can be very gifted craftsman. But if the foundation isn't good, things are going to shift and it's going to be bad. The watchman, you can have the best watchman all day long, but if the foundation isn't good and all the watchman's going to do is stand there and watch everything shift, and then it's bad. Rhoda's mother lives in West Virginia, and she lives in a town called Hinton, West Virginia. Lives on the side of a mountain in a town. It's overlooking a river, the New River. But a few years ago, several of the large houses in town, the mountain shifted a little bit, and these houses that were once facing the street turned and were at an angle to the street. Well, the foundation of the house turned, and you know what happened? The house it wasn't safe to be in the house. They had to tear the houses down because the foundation shifted. And you could have somebody watch the house all you want to, but it wasn't going to change anything. Doors wouldn't close or open. Windows wouldn't close or open. Everything was messed up because the foundation wasn't good. So the foundation, the builders would need a good foundation, and then materials. If the foundation's good, but the builders use faulty materials, sooner or later those materials are going to decay, and they're not going to work well, and they're going to fall apart. And the watchmen and the builders, even though they use expert builders, if you give him faulty material, he's not going to be able to do the job that he's called to do. And the watchmen, they can watch, but they can't make faulty materials be quality materials. So you've got builders to build, watchmen to watch. And they need to build this on a good foundation. They need to use good materials, and they need to watch over things, and it all needs to go according to how God says. Well, it's the same way with our life. As a building, it's a good illustration of us and our lives. If we build our lives on anything other than Christ, that foundation's not going to stand when life gets hard. And things will happen. We will have the death of a loved one. We'll have disappointments. People will let us down. People turn against us. All kinds of things will happen. Our health may be bad. We may lose our job. And if our faith isn't in Jesus Christ, life is going to get really, really bad. And who do we have to lean on? Well, ourselves. And that's not going to work well. If the philosophies, if the things we choose to believe in aren't based on Jesus Christ, then sooner or later those philosophies are going to be false. And they're going to lead us down a wrong road, and we're going to go the wrong way. So the question for you and me is, unless the Lord built the house, we are all building something. we're all building a life. Unless our life is based on Jesus Christ, our life is in vain. Unless God watches over the city, the watchmen stand guard in vain. Unless God is the center, Jesus Christ the center of our life, as we watch life go by, it's going to be in vain. Why? Because it's going to fall apart. It's not going to do well. Storms will come and our life will crumble because our faith, our life is not based in Christ. You ever gone to Home Depot or Lowe's or one of the hardware stores and go to the lumber area to get some lumber? And you watch somebody that really knows what they're doing, and they'll take a piece of lumber, 10, 12, 14-foot piece of lumber, and they turn it on its side and they look right down. They want to see if there's a bow in it. They want to see if it's a straight board or if it's a bow. And you'll watch them and they'll push some aside and, okay, this is a good one. They take it. They push this aside. And they want to only use the best materials. And as they should, because they want a good product. But you know what's incredible? You know those parts that are discarded? Those parts that are bowed, those parts that may be cracked, have some knots and bad spots in it and all? They're just discarded. They're not any good, are they? But you know what? God uses discards to further his kingdom, to further the spread of the gospel. He takes people like you and me, people that other people would discard and say, they're not worth anything. And God will use the discards to create something and build something strong. And some of the strongest churches God has been built with discards. But God is the only one who can do that. If you and I try to do that, it doesn't work. God can bring people into our lives, discards that help us, guide us, direct us. But remember, our faith cannot be in a person. Our faith, trust has to be in Jesus Christ. And when we do that, then God will take this discard and that discard, and he will build something beautiful out of it when nothing else could. So, anybody ever calls you a discard, just say thank you. And then let them see what God does through you. Hope you have a good weekend. Hope to see you Sunday at church. Bye.